Hey you guys, this is the Retro Flora Podcast. I'm Brenda.
And I'm Charmy, and we're just two crazy sisters with an opinion and a channel.
If you like true crime, conspiracies, and supernatural shit, then this is your channel. Alright, today you guys is our supernatural paranormal part. So today we decided we're going to read creepy stories that we found on the internet.
Yeah, because we just love reading creepy stories in the middle of the night.
Yeah, no, for real. Like, because I know I go on TikTok and look at jump scares. It's like I like to be scared, but then I regret it when I'm in my room alone at night.
Yeah, like, I like watching people play horror games, but, like, I'm also, like, my heart's pounding so hard. I have, like, super high anxiety when I watch it, but it's, like, so fun. It's, like, that fun excitement, you know?
Yeah, I'll be on TikTok hiding behind the comments.
Yeah! Hopefully we can make these scary stories funny, so we won't be scared tonight.
Yeah, because we're literally recording this at night, so...
Yeah.
Okay, so this story is called Come Play With Me, and it is from Scary Stories for Camp, the section of the Anecdote Oral Popular Culture website. Some time ago, a friend of mine and I decided to do the Ouija board for the first time.
Okay. Why are you doing the Ouija board?
Well, we solved your problem. That's something we had never dared to do before. We called two other friends to come and do it with us, as I had been told that it's more likely something would happen if there was more people. We had a hard time convincing the two others, obviously, but in the end, they agreed to come along. We got everything ready, and feeling a bit nervous, we got started. During the session, one of the girls we had called to join us said, "This is nonsense, I'm out of here." We got a little scared and decided to leave it for another time. After a few days, the girl who had left called me beside herself. She said that as she was passing a derelict house near her home on the way back from the local library, a little girl dressed in white had asked to play with her. My friend told her that she couldn't as she was in a hurry to get home, and immediately the girl began to cry tears of blood.
What? You need to go to the hospital.
I would have died on that. I would have just died right there.
I would have ran.
Girl, no. My friend fled. Oh, look, she did exactly what she did.
Like, I ain't got time for little kids crying blood.
And when she got home, she called me. At first, I thought she was pulling my leg, but something told me that that was not the case. I began to think about the day we had done the Ouija board and how abrupt my friend had been when she got up to leave. I didn't give it much more thought and went to bed. The next day, my friend called me. You have something to say?
Yeah, so you see a girl crying blood and you don't tell anybody? You don't even think, I'm gonna forget this, and I'm gonna forget my friend, and like, what?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I get, no. If my friend told me she saw a little girl crying blood, I would be like, girl,
and be like, yep,
and we played the Ouija board, I would be like, alright, we gotta get that together and close this out. The next day, my friend called me because she was going to be home alone studying, and she was scared. She asked me to keep her company. I took the bus over to hers, and we settled down with our books. After a while, we heard a scratchy noise behind us. We both looked up and were horrified to find that the girl she described to me was sitting on my friend's bed, scratching the wall. I'm sorry.
What?
Oh my God. Excuse me.
This ain't your house.
You lost. Like,
get out.
Are you gonna pay my deposit back to me because you can't be scratching this wall, girl?
These ghosts are bold.
No, she really scratched the wall. I'm dead. We ran out of the room, and when we got to the front door, I noticed my friend was not there. What the heck? She left her.
Wait, how big is this house? That you'd be like, 5 seconds she's next to you, the other 5 seconds she's gone.
She looked back like, oh my God, where'd she go? I noticed that my friend was not there, but I was so terrified I couldn't make myself wait for her. What the heck, man?
Okay, I know that sounds bad, but I can see why she wouldn't. Okay, creepy ghost girls, I would run too. Everybody from themselves at this point.
Alright, when I read this next line, you're gonna be like, this is so messed up. Shortly afterwards, the police called my house to tell me that my friend had died of an asthma attack. So that means you just ran home. You didn't even, like, try to go.
I know, but, like, okay I would have ran, but I would have called police. Okay, that's what I would have changed about it, okay?
She didn't even do that. She just ran and was like, well, I hope she's okay. No! A ghost girl crying blood was in her room scratching. She's not okay.
I wonder why it only affected her.
Because she wanted dead.
No, why it only affected her friend, even though she was the one.
Because she abruptly left, I think. She didn't close out the I think you're supposed to close it out, but
yeah.
Just
followed her home.
Yeah, if you don't say goodbye or something like that, it stays. Yeah.
She didn't watch the movies.
She had been found on the stairs of her house with a terrified expression on her face. For several months after that, I was in treatment. Yeah, I bet, girl. I am now recovering, but the other day a note appeared in my mailbox written in a little girl's handwriting that said, "Your friend died because she wouldn't play with me. I have a new doll." I think it's a joke since our story has become famous in our town. But on the other hand, I'm scared. I wonder when she will come for me. I'm sorry, wait, you said that your story is famous in town. So like, they were just like, yeah, that girl died of an asthma attack. This is a famous story. We're just gonna just keep telling everyone about it.
Well, you know what? This story was more funny than scary.
The only thing that's scary was that little girl literally gonna leave that note in the mailbox. Like, how do you know where I live? Like, the next story is called "It's Good to See an Old Friend" by Barb's Cats 1973. When I was 37, I went to my high school reunion. I flew into the nearest airport and rented a car. The distance was about 35 miles through a rural and almost abandoned part of the country. About 3 miles outside of town, I see someone on the other side of the road flagging me down. Up in the North Woods, no one ever leaves someone stranded. It turned out that it was one of the guys I had attended school with. I'll call him Jim. Jim gets in the car and we start talking. I had not seen him in 20 years, but he still looked the same, maybe a little older. We got to town and asked him if he wants to come to the VFW and have a drink. He says no, just take me home. Jim's parents had lived only a few blocks from my grandmother's house, and I turned in the direction, but he said to take him to a part of town that was really on the outskirts, up by the fairgrounds and the cemetery. Why are the fairgrounds and the cemetery next to each other? Like, I don't want to go to the fair and look over and there's a bunch of dead people. You know what I mean?
I know, right?
There was a mobile home park out there, and I figured that's where he lived. When we reached the end of the turn off, he said, "Just drop me here. It was good to see you again." And he walks off into the night. I go to the VFW, met some of my old classmates. We start to talk. Now, please understand, I have never done drugs, nor do I drink more than soda pop. I was stone cold sober, tired after a 13-hour flight that had included a 3-hour layaway, but sober. So we start talking about who's coming to the reunion. I mentioned that I picked up Jim 3 miles east of the town and had dropped him off by the fairgrounds. Everyone got real quiet. Even the guy singing karaoke stopped with
Like, what?
Dang, he was ear hustling then. Like,
yeah, how you singing and listening?
And he lays down the mic. My cousin goes white as a new cotton t-shirt.
That's very specific.
Very descriptive. Thank you. Barb. Jim died on the curb 8 years ago. Rolled his car. We were all at his funeral. I started to feel dizzy. I go out to the car to take some deep breaths and decide whether or not I'm sane. There on a seat in the local newspaper, printed 8 years previous, containing Jim's obituary. I still have that damn paper. Every now and then, I take it out and stare at it and still wonder what the fuck happened.
Okay, we have a question. You walked outside and the newspaper just happened to have the obituary, or did you look it up?
I don't know. I feel like Jim put it there.
Like, hey, you picked me up and I'm dead. Ha!
Right. Joke's on you. No, but that is, I don't know how I feel after that. Like, now, every time I see somebody, I'm going to be like, are you really
dead?
Right. Are you alive? I'm going to go look up your obituary right now. Like, I have major trust issues.
Yeah.
So this story is called The Cabin, and it's by Zoa Marland, class 12. A hiker decided to go on a hike by himself. Obviously. A hiker decided to go on a hike. I'm sorry, that was funny to me. Something he was not very used to. I'm assuming going by himself, not hiking.
Yeah.
The whole day was normal. Trees and bushes engulfed his surroundings. He enjoyed being outdoors in the mountains. Nothing seemed strange to him. That was until he was making his way to his car. He figured an 8-hour hike. Oh, heck no.
8-hour hike?
That's crazy. I mean, if you can do that, kudos to you, but I can barely hike for an hour, so...
No wonder he in this scary story.
Scary story. He went for an 8-hour hike.
Yeah, that's a scary story to me.
He figured an 8-hour hike was good enough. The sky was already getting dark, and he needed to get back fast. What was odd was how much he didn't recognize the trail back. He began to panic. Night had already taken over and all he had was a flashlight and no clue on how to get back. He knew it was already too late and too dangerous to keep going through the perilous forest. He began to worry that he would have no shelter for the night when, almost luckily enough, he stumbled across a broken down cabin. It was dark and seemed like no one had visited it in years, but he knew it was the only place where he could rest until daylight, especially since his flashlight was running out of battery. He knocked on the door a few times, but no one answered, so he let himself in, where strangely enough, a perfect bed fitted for one person awaited him in the center.
Does it mean like a twin bed? Or like, because it said perfect bed fitted for one person.
Yeah, that was weird how they worded that. That's kind of suspicious because like
it's not a kid bed, is what they're saying.
The bed was perfect for one person and it awaited in the center. That's a red flag. He knew that if the owner came back, he could explain himself, but he was sure the owner wouldn't mind. So he went ahead and got himself comfortable in bed. As he tried to sleep, he couldn't ignore the collection of paintings around the room, portraits of strange-looking people all peering at him, each wearing a smile that sent chills up his spine. Not long after, his exhaustion from the hike got the best of him, and he was able to ignore the faces. The next morning he got up early and was shocked to see that there were no paintings around the room, but windows.
Oh my god, so there's people outside
watching him! That's so creepy!
Oh my god, when you were describing that, I was thinking about Buka and all those freaking paintings that hung up.
They weren't painting. There were people watching us eat Italian food.
That is so crazy. That could totally be like one of those urban legends, like the girl who was like laying down, she saw somebody, what she thought was like in the mirror.
Oh, you mean the girl who was like babysitting and she came to like the patio and she thought that was like a glass, like she thought that the reflection was she thought that the glass thing was showing her that the person was standing outside looking in on the patio, but in fact the person standing behind her. Yeah. I don't like stories like that because it's just like, yo, you were so close to not being
how many windows are in that fucking cabin? He said thousands.
He didn't say thousands.
Well, he said a lot.
Yeah, he did say a lot, so I don't know if this is some I don't know,
some experiment cabin.
Like, yeah, these people
some cabin in the woods
and
type thing.
They were staring at him like chillingly, like their smiles sent chills up his spine. Like,
no wonder the owner did.
The owner probably rented this house. Like, you want to see an exhausted sleeping human, $20. They should smile at him creepily. So this one is called "It Wasn't a Little Girl" by Beth Brandon. I was camping with my husband and his family at a small remote lake in New Mexico. There were about 10 people in our group and another group of 6 people in the next campsite. It was nighttime and both groups were doing typical activities, making s'mores, having a few drinks, and telling stories, when we all heard what sounded like a little girl yelling out for help. Neither group had children with them, but we were all positive we were hearing a little girl and decided to search the area we heard the noises from together. There was a field behind our campsites, and we all saw a very tall, pure white figure standing maybe 100 feet away from us in the field, making the noises. We all agreed this thing looked maybe 6 feet tall, skinny, and white as can be.
Slenderman!
We made our way closer to investigate, but whatever it was that we saw started backing off as we got closer, and it disappeared into the trees.
Why are you going after it?
Yeah, not. All night, we continued to hear a little girl calling for help as we tried to sleep.
So wait, we come to you and you run, but you still calling out for help.
Y'all, I think y'all saw a skinwalker. Those things can mimic people's voices, and they're tall and white like this. There's like a folklore from like a Native American folklore. I was gonna look into it, but I got scared, so I stopped. Because when I was looking into it, it said they could read minds. I was like, nope, I'm out. Like,
they can do everything. Why don't they just rule the world at this point?
Please don't say that, because they might. They might hear this podcast and be like, you know what? She right. We about to just rule the world.
Well, if you are, please don't enslave me. I was right.
Don't enslave me either. Just leave me alone. I'm already dealing with mental stuff. Goodbye. This one is called Roommate Troubles by Audrey Webster. This actually happened to me a few years back at the University of Arts in Philadelphia. My sophomore year, I roomed with a girl named Kara. She was a jazz vocalist, but her main interest was opera. We had a small room on the 6th floor of a dormitory called Juniper Hall. The walls were thin, and her late night singing and voice practices would keep me up late. After a month or so of lost sleep, I convinced her to move her late night practices to the music studios in the Merriam Theater building a block away. Around 8 o'clock one evening, Kara announced that she would be practicing late night for an upcoming recital and probably wouldn't be home until around midnight. Great, I thought. That means I can go to bed early. I was beat and had a horrible day in acting studio and was ready to pass out as soon as I had dinner. She said goodnight and left, coffee and sheet music in hand. I made some grilled cheese and soup, gobbled it down, and immediately began to prepare for bed. By the time I got out of the shower, my eyelids were so heavy I could hardly brush my teeth. I pulled on my PJs and crawled into the top bunk of our bunk beds. I was out as soon as my head hit the pillow. I should take a second to describe the layout of our apartment. When entering the apartment, the bedroom was through a door immediately to the left. Our bathroom was inside the bedroom, just past the bunk beds. UArts is nice in the sense that you don't have to share bathrooms. Anyway, I woke up to the sound of the apartment door closing. I closed my eyes and groggily checked my phone. Midnight on the dot. I rolled back over and closed my eyes. I heard Kara enter the room and stop in front of the bunk beds, checking to see if I'm actually asleep, I thought. She flopped down on the bed below me, which was strange as she usually was a stickler for brushing her teeth and washing up before bed. Then again, exams were just around the corner and we were all exhausted. The mattress below me creaked, and then it was silence. I couldn't even hear her breathing. As I drifted off again, I was on the edge of the deep sleep when I was startled awake again by a noise, a key in the lock, and the door opening, and Kara entering our apartment humming an opera tune. The mattress below me creaked. Yeah, that's scary.
Yeah.
It's like, who the hell is on the bed underneath me then?
I thought it was actually underwhelming. I wish it was more.
Yeah, because I want to know what happened. Like, y'all jump him or she or whatever it was.
Just like, I don't know. It was just underwhelming for me.
And like, did he like pick the locks? Like, how did he get in?
I think it was a guy.
Or girl, whatever. Did they pick the locks?
Or even like a human being.
Okay, they could still be a they and not be a human being. Yeah, that's kind of creepy. I don't know, man. I literally think I would have died of fright.
At least you died with your friend.
Oh, yay.
At least she can run while you're getting killed.
Oh, opposite of the last one.
Yeah, she's a real one.
Okay, this last story is called Headhunter, and it's by Pablo Canto. A family of 4, 2 young children and their parents were traveling on the road to ... because it doesn't say where they're traveling to, when their car broke down. The parents went out to look for help and left the radio for the kids in case they got bored. By nightfall, the parents still hadn't returned. Sat in the darkness, the children continued to listen to the radio and grew alarmed when they heard that a dangerous killer was on the loose, having escaped from prison nearby. The newsreader warned listeners to take extreme care when going about their business. Time passed and the children waited. The silence outside the car was absolute until suddenly they heard knocking on the roof above them. Clink, clink, clink. The knocks grew louder and louder. Duff, duff, duff. Unable to bear it any longer, the children opened the car doors and fled in terror. Only the eldest dared to turn to see the source of their fate. On top of the car was a large man who was bouncing 2 objects on the top of the vehicle, the heads of the children's parents.
Oh my god, that's so crazy.
What the heck, man?
That was the scariest of them all.
Yeah, no, what the heck, man? What the heck? No. Literally, kids are orphans and now they need therapy.
Yes.
If they survive. Because who knows if this crazy guy is gonna like chase them.
Oh yeah, that reminds me of what's the story, The Hook?
Oh, The Hook?
To the Scary Story. Was it Scary Story still there that had that?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, that reminds me of that. I hate that book. Scares me.
This actually reminds me of that urban legend about the boyfriend going to go look around or something happened. I can't really remember. And like the girlfriend was in a car and she's just waiting and waiting, and then she hears like drip, drip,
oh,
drip.
Yeah.
And then like when sunrise finally comes, she opens the door and she sees that her boyfriend is like throat was slit.
Yeah. Or the other one, there's an urban legend where the girl's in the car with the guy and she's like this scraping, and then she drives the car away because the killer's in front of her, and she's accidentally like the rope was tied to her boyfriend's neck that was above the car, and she hung him by accident, obviously. But,
you know, I never heard that legend, but I saw it in that movie, Urban Legends. Yeah. Yeah.
I like the first movie. The second movie sucked though.
These stories were... The one that creeped me out was this last one. And the one where that guy was in the cabin and he thought that those were pictures and they were not.
Those are the scariest.
Yeah, those two scared the crap out of me. Because, like, no to either one of them. So what do you guys think about, like, the scary story collection? Should we do more like this?
And also share some of your scary stories in the comment section below.
Well, you've made it to the end.
You must really like the sounds of our high-pitched voices and quirky commentary.
You might as well like and subscribe to our channel and hit that bell to be notified every time we drop new content. If you want to follow our social medias, they will be linked in the description box below.
Bye!
Bye! If you see pictures and they're staring at you, they're probably people, so run!
Or you're just that buka.
Dang. Bye!
Bye!